In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, and Amen we trust as the Republic of Mentellect, the true 144,000 is being gathered in this day and time into the future, the real New Covenant, NEW Covenant. Good evening, I'm your host, the intellectual Nuben Menkares, and this is Mentellect Radio, and tonight we're going to be discussing soulmates. What is the real meaning of soulmates? This is always a popular topic because people want to know who they're supposed to be with. People, especially women, men too, but especially women, want to know, who is my companion? Who am I supposed to be with? Who am I supposed to spend my life with? You know, they want to find what they call a twin flame or their soulmate, the person that they're ultimately supposed to be with, right? Because, you know, you have a lot of people who go through relationships, right, and they break up, and you know, you might spend time with that person, an extensive amount of time with that person. You might even put in years just to find out that these people were not who you were supposed to be with as a solar connection or a soul connection. You have what's called, what I call settlements. You have soulmates, you have spirit mates, and you have settlements. I'll go with the first one first. Soulmates are the people that you are connected to through the soul. You know, you were connected through time, through space, in another lifetime. You people were connected. You were of the same mind frame, the same way of thinking, everything. You were connected. So when you see each other, you are naturally drawn to each other mentally. You know, you might be of the same family and the same lineage and bloodline. Because during slavery, those of us who were in slavery, a lot of the families were split up. And, you know, cousins, distant cousins and relatives, we don't know who's who. But you have a connection to these people mentally. You have a connection with these people. In another life, that person might have been your wife, your husband, your brother, you know, whatever. And they've come back in this life, and they're not that, and they, you know, and you can't, you know, explain your attraction to these people, you know. And I'm not just talking about a physical attraction. I'm talking about a mental attraction, a soulful attraction. You feel like this person fits into or fits within, or, you know, is a part of what it is that you're a part of, that y'all connected mentally, right? That there is a attraction beyond the physical. There's a mental connection. An extended mental connection, right? A soul connection. Something that, you know, that person offers that constantly feeds you, and you feed that person mentally. You all want to be extended in yourself and in your life. You want to be, you have that extension, right? Now, your spirit connection are the people that you are attracted to, right? These are the people who you are attracted to temporarily, and you end up with for longer than that temporary time in which you were supposed to lay up or be with these people. You have sexual intercourse. You know, you have a mini relationship, and it doesn't last. Those are your spirit mates, because people get caught up in the spirit or get caught up in the flow of energy here in the society, which is based on trivial and physical attraction, shallow attraction. It's a spiritual, low frequency energy that goes through this planet when it comes to picking out, you know, the person that you're supposed to be with, picking out the mate that you're supposed to be with. It's very shallow, right? It's very shallow, very trivial when it comes to picking that up. Those are spiritual mates, because, like I said, Earth is a very spiritual planet. But the soul of the people, that's the strongest. It is stronger than the spirit. So when you have that soul mate connection, like I said, you are connected to that person by way of the mind. You are attracted to the mind of those people. You are attracted to that person's fire and that energy that makes that person move. And you also find yourself connected to it, and you move with that energy. See, because soulmate don't just have to be somebody that you know, in a relationship with, man and woman or whatever the case may be. You can be the soulmate to an organization or a movement. Like I say, the people in the Republican Mentor, like who come here and the people who stay here, they are soulmates to Amen. Right? They are soulmates to Amen. Uh, uh, they're of that extended body of Amen. Those are the people who know where they belong. They're soulmates to this. It's not always just attraction to a man and woman type thing. This is an attraction to a physical family of people, and that person that you end up with, that's the person who resonates that same aura, that same solar energy that you carry. Now, your settlements are the people that you end up settling with because you can't find nobody, or you just want to be married, you just want to be with anybody. And over time, you find out that you don't really have nothing in common with these people. You don't have a few children, right? You spend most of your life with these people, and you like, oh, I done committed most of my life. I'm older now. Our children are grown. I've been with this person, but we don't really see eye to eye or nothing. But I'm not going to just go up and leave, right? We more like friends now than, lovers and husband and wife. We become more like friends over time. We just came together, as settlements to have these children, and that's it. That becomes your life, right? But ultimately, you want to find the soulmate. Ultimately, you want to find that person. You want to connect with that person. Now, like I said, the majority of the time you go through life, you find spirit mates, people who you get into flings with, have a little relationship with, might be married to them for a little while, and then there's a divorce, because after a while you figure out that this person really isn't my soulmate and we really have nothing in common. I got caught up in the moment, that spiritual connection, which is the wrong connection to form with somebody. Same way the settle connection or the settlemate is wrong to connect with. Because, you can get relationships with the spiritual mate and the settle mate, but they're not going to last. You better off connecting with the soulmate, because the soulmate, even if you're not in a one-on-one relationship with that person, even if that person is like, a guy that you, a person that you, start off having a physical encounter with, sexual encounter with, even if that's that person, that person stimulates you mentally, you better off dealing with that person and being in an extended relationship with that person, because those relationships could last a lifetime. If people are feeding you mentally, stimulating you mentally, igniting the fire in you, the soul in you, to expand yourself and to grow, those relationships could last forever. Those relationships could last forever. You can have a person who's your lover, who you come and get with and things like that, somebody who you deal with, and y'all not married or anything, but you have an unspoken bond with that person, because you both ignite each other fire, and he ain't going to leave you, you ain't going to leave him, and you just have that sexual connection, that mental connection. Everything is all in alignment. The mental, the physical, and the soul connections in alignment. That person attracts you mentally. That's your soulmate. That is your soulmate. You got certain people, because you'll say, you'll have certain people, like you'll have guys who women be like, oh, he look good, this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 blah. Right? I like how he talk. I like how he, then the other woman, well, I'm not really into that guy. I don't really, it's not, I'm not really, it's like he all right. He would have to be the kind of person that would have to convince you to like him if he's trying to talk to you. If a man has to convince you to like him, then he's not your soulmate. He's not your soulmate. He ends up, and if you end up going with that man or that woman, they end up becoming your settlemate, because you haven't found your soulmate. The soulmate is the one who attracts you mentally. You are inspired by that person. That person ignites that solar connection in you, right? That person ignites it in you. Like I said, it might not be a person who, who might be in a one-on-one with you. You might have a man who might have women who are the soulmates to that man. He might have multiple soulmates. A man might have multiple soulmates. Now women say, well, why is that? That's not fair. That sounds like a polygamy thing. Why is a man can have multiple soulmates? Because it's more men, it's more women than men. It's more women than men. That's why. I didn't make it that way. It just is what it is. Just like you have multiple women who will be attracted to one man because of what comes from that man, right? Now, those women who decide to take it to the next level with that man, want to get to know that man uh, um, mentally and physically, those become the soulmates to that man. And the women who move or not deal with that man, he's a hard act to follow because they say, oh, if I can't have that soulmate, that man to myself, then I'll just go ahead and take a settlemate or somebody who I got to convince myself to like. Or I'll take a spiritual mate, somebody that I'm into, but those spiritual and settled connections never last. They never last. Oh, he cute. I like what he's saying. You got to convince yourself that his jokes is funny. You got to convince yourself that you like him. You're looking for him to say that one thing to get you to like him when you really don't like him. That's what you getting into a settled mate connection, right? Or you like the guy for a minute, he cute, he look good. Or you like her for a minute, she cute, she look good, but you ain't really into her like that. That's your spiritual connection. You got people who live off spiritual connections and live off spiritual mates for a lifetime. You got people that do that for a lifetime, and they always go through life unfulfilled because they always looking for that one person who stimulates them mentally. Because once you stimulate a person mentally, then you stimulate them sexually. You stimulate them on all levels. You stimulate that person. That is your soulmate. That is your soulmate. Because, like I said, you got people who can constantly stimulate another person, be it what they stand for, because the soulmate is the biggest thing in the world. It's the biggest thing. It's larger than life. It's larger than spirit. It's larger than the settle. The soul, because it is so extensive and so attractive, that brightness, that extending energy of the soul is so, bright, so extensive, so intricate, and so much spectrum of color to it, meaning so many different layers and levels to that. When you are attracted to that, right, as those bright women and bright men should be, and you find that in a person who has saying it in his message, saying it in his demeanor and the things he say to you, that's your soulmate. That's your soulmate. It might not be the way you want it. Oh, I can't have a one-on-one with that person, or I can't be with that person, or he got another. It might not be the way you want, but it still don't take away from the fact that's your soulmate. Everything ain't how you want it to be. Now, I know a lot of women ain't going to want to hear that. No, a lot of men ain't going to want to hear that. But it's not. It is what it is. The soul is extensive. It is extensive. It is what constantly excites you, constantly ignites you, and brings about an explosion in you. Right? That's the soulmate. The settlemate don't do that, because once you settle into a life with the settlemate, you like, you got to find yourself doing things to uh, uh, um, to make that time with that person more palatable, to make it more livable. That's not how a soulmate is supposed to be. That's not how a soulmate is supposed to be. A soulmate, when you connect with a soulmate, it's always something exciting going on. Even when there's nothing going on, there's always something going on. The conversation, the silence, right? The communion, right? It's always something going on. There's always a wondering in you about that person. You always wondering about that person. How you marvel at that person. That person extends you, because while you're thinking about that person, the deeper levels of that person, you're finding the deeper levels in yourself. That's a soulmate. That is a soulmate. Getting to the deeper cores of who you are. That is a soulmate. Not somebody who you got to settle for. Not somebody who you be like, oh, if I ain't, I don't know if I want to be with this person. I don't know. That was your settlement, or the person you got with because you was attracted to her, you was attracted to him, and and this, that, and the third, and then it's always something that happens. You always have one of those want moments. It's always something that happens. The sex ain't no good, or the verbal encounter is no good. Their habits can't get to you. It's something about them, and you like, I just want to break this off. I'm like, but the spiritual thing, you connected to that person because you're like, well, damn, that person look good. Other women want him, and after a while, you like, yeah, you hanging on to that person because of that, because of what the other women want, because they attracted to that person through the spirit, not through the soul. Because, like I said, your spiritual mates or your spiritual people, right? Very rarely, if any time, do they ever encounter soulmates. And if you acknowledge that you have a soul, right, and you constantly going through connections that are based on the spiritual, then after a while, your soul starts to fade, and you start accepting spiritual connections with people, temporary connections, where you get into these little mini relationships, and you lay up with these people, right? And you find out, I'm not really attracted to that person mentally. That person don't really stimulate me. It was fun while it lasted. You start feeling like that. But like I said, when you get involved with a person who mentally stimulates you, your soulmate, that could go for a long time. That can go for a lifetime. You understand that? That can go for a lifetime, even if you're not the only one in that person's life. That person is going to deal with you because you stimulate each other. Nobody gives away mental stimulation just like that. You have men who've been in relationships with their wives, right? But then they'll have another woman on the side who's a soulmate. Right? I've heard of this happening. And the wife know about it. And the wife might be the settlemate. And she want to keep her life okay in that settlemate format, and she'll allow, and she'll know about her husband's other woman, because she'll send her husband over them. They do this downside, going over to Mary Jean house and whatnot. Go lay up with her. I don't feel like laying up with you tonight. Going over there with her, and he'll run right over there, because that's his soulmate over there, and she's his settlemate over there. But she don't mind being a settlemate. Certain people don't mind being settlements. Certain people, like I said, a lot of times I tell them, if a man get with a settlemate, like, he might take care of the family, this, that, and the third, but he has to have that soul release someplace else. He might have a girlfriend or a couple of girlfriends who are like soulmates to him. He can be himself. He can release himself, not just sexually, but mentally, and exchange with those people. So sometimes the women who end up being what you think would be side women, they're actually main women. But then the settlemate is also a main woman as well. She's a main woman because he gives her a lot of energy and attention, so he ends up splitting it off in certain levels, on certain levels. Right? The spiritual mate, those don't never make it. Those are your endless encounters. Those are the endless encounters that never make it. They never seriously make it to another level. Those are your, like, I'm going to give you a good example of your spiritual mates. Your homosexual encounters are spiritual connections. They're not soul connections. Because you got a lot of people who sit up here and wonder, oh, can gay people have gay soulmates? I had somebody ask me that one time. I said, no, they have spiritual mates. They have spiritual mates. There's no such thing as homosexual soulmates. You have spiritual mates. Why? Because homosexuality, lesbianism, all of that, those are unnatural acts. So those are being that those are unnatural acts, and the energy or the spirit of that is heavy on this atmosphere in this society today, right? That is a spiritual vibration going through this whole society today. So you pick up on that spiritual vibration, that submental vibration, and you start saying, well, I was into men, and I was looking for my soulmate, but being I can't find no soulmate, I'm going to get with a woman. Another woman, I'm going to get with another woman. That's a spiritual connection because y'all bond on the trivial things. Y'all don't like man, they mad. You bond on the trivial things. Or you a man, you bond on with another man on the trivial thing. I don't like women. I like sex. I like sex. You know, you bond on the trivial, unnatural things. So that becomes a spiritual connection. Those are what you call hookups. Hookups. Let me take a call. 912. 912.
Hello? Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, brother, this Obama. I didn't press the number. I guess it's a mistake. I'm just listening.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. 937.
Jay, I got a question. I know. I want to know. Can two settlements produce a bright child? But I'm pretty sure that two spiritual mates won't produce a bright child. But I just want to know if settlements could produce a bright child. And you can put me back on hold.
It's possible because, like I said, you got certain people that settle for the settlemate status. You got certain people that just settle for that. There's no soul connection with them, and they pretty much settle for that. But the spiritual mates, they can't. Actually, the settle mates is a little stronger than the spiritual mates because the spiritual mates are basically hookups and sexual encounters. Those are basically hookups and sexual encounters. So but the settle mates, they can produce a bright child because they settled into. There's some form of normalcy. There's some form of what do I want to say, routine there, a dedication there that's stronger than the spiritual mate. Stronger. But for those of you who want that soul connection that is above all of those, because those things feed you mind, body, and soul, the soul connection, then like I said, that's a little more extensive. That's a little more extensive. That's a little more, what do I want to say? That's a little more complicated, in a sense. And it's just in a sense. Right? You have to know what it is that you want, what inspires you. What inspires you, mind, body, and soul? The person that inspires you, mind, body, and soul, that's your soulmate. That's your soulmate. The person who inspires you, mind, body, and soul. The one who you enjoy talking to, and when you feel like you're talking to that person is feeding you mentally, extending you. Right? Not just telling you what you want to hear, or converting themselves into what you want them to be. That's not soulmates. That's not soulmate. You take what people give you, right? And based on how far it extends you, you know where your soulmate lies at. Where is it that they are? You know where that soulmate is. Like I said, a lot of people went through settlements, and they figured that the settlemate is not good enough for them. A lot of you, the majority of the people who were in a relationship, to marriage and whatnot, 9 times out of 10 you was not married to your soulmates. 9 times out of 10 you were not married to your soulmates. You were married to settlements because you just wanted to be with somebody. Right? You just wanted to be with somebody. You figured that would be a form of stability. But what people don't understand is these are people that you got to lay with, sleep with, eat with, talk with. You have to give your life over to these people. You have to share mental connection with these people. These people are going to want to talk to you. They're going to want, and after a while, you're not going to want to do it if you are not a settled mate type of person. You're not going to want to do it. It's going to bore the hell out of you. You're going to be like, I know I could do more. So then you'll find yourself getting away from that person to do more. You'll find yourself going out more by yourself, doing things by yourself. You'll find yourself getting away from that person just to do more because you want to stay within the settlemate connection, but you know that you don't want too much encounter because you know that person is not your soulmate. You got to hold certain things back from that person. You can't tell that person everything. And you have to actually have, and I said this on my wall, you actually have to have a soul to get a soulmate. You have to have a soul. For those of you who are in these interracial things, you might have a white husband or a white wife or whatever. They're not your soulmate. They're your spiritual mates because they got spirit. So what they ended up doing virtually is converting your soul into a spirit. Right? You put your fire out. You put the essence of who you are out because there's a lot of black people that's born with spirits. A lot of them are born with spirit. A lot of them are void of soul. So they seek out other spiritual beings and other races of people. They don't seek out the soul. Because like I said, your humans don't have souls. Your Caucasians, your East Indians, and Asians, they don't have souls. They have spirits. So you seek out that spirit energy in other people because 9 times out of 10 when you seek that out, that means you were born without one. You were born without one. You were going with that flow of energy, and then you have those people who seek out spiritual connections, and they might end up with anything. You might end up with another woman, a person of another race. That's what the majority of you black women are on today. A lot of these black women who are coming out in the forefront, that the beast is putting out in the forefront, who talking about who ended up with the white man or ended up with another woman in a lesbian relationship. Those are spiritual people, and they are looking for spiritual encounters, spirit mates. So you can end up with anything. You can end up with anything that's unnatural. Any unnatural union is a spiritual union. I'm going to say it again. Any unnatural union, right, be it interracial or homosexual, is a spiritual union. But the soul union is a connection with one of your own. And that one of your own who is raising you mentally, that's the soul connection. Like I said, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because you'll say, oh, it's not enough soulmates to go around. It's not enough soulmates to, why can I have my own soulmate? Because it don't work like that. It don't work like that. It's not what you always want it to be. It's not. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. I'm not here to tell people what they want to hear. I'm here to tell you the truth. Not my truth. Not telling you how I want it to be. Not because I say so, but because it is so. I didn't set the time frame or the number of men that would be on earth as opposed to women. I didn't set that in place. That's how it is. That's how it is. Men will have multiple soulmates, right? Men will have multiple soulmates, but women will only have one soulmate. It's the same thing where you see, well, I said men by nature are really polygamous, and women by nature are really monogamous. But women want to convert men over into being monogamous, and that's not really how men are deep down. They're only being monogamous because they don't really want to hurt your feelings, and they don't want to cause any. They don't want to. They know you're gonna raise hell if you come in with another woman. You're gonna raise hell. But if you gave the man the choice, and you tell him, baby, it's all right. I know this is how you are by nature. He's gonna get another woman. He ain't gonna get rid of you. He's just gonna have another woman. Because it's in him to do that. It's in his soul nature to do that. Because men have multiple soulmates. That's why he have multiple wives. He have multiple soulmates. Women have one soulmate. Because it's not enough men on earth for you to have multiple soulmates. It's not enough men. Did I make it that way? No. No. Am I pushing up the man because I want to, you trying to push the man because the man, the man gets the better end of the deal? No, he don't. No, he don't. He don't really get the better end of the deal. Because to a lot of men, it would be simple to deal with one soulmate. A lot of men, it would be simple. Right? But it's never simple when it comes to men. I said to a person before, I said, in the thing of the alpha man and the beta man, the alpha male and the beta male, the alpha male tends to be the one who is, what's the word I want to say, aggressive. There's an energy that's working in the alpha man, pioneering, taking, energetic, strong, and the majority of women on earth, they want that man. And then you got the beta man who's laid back. He's kind of, non-aggressive, right? Willing to, be and take one and be happy with what he has. Not many women want that man. Not many women want that man. They have two different souls. Two different souls altogether. One is a stronger soul than the other. And women tend to want the stronger soul. You have some souls who are incomplete souls. Like a lot of these guys out here, I'm going to give you a good example of incomplete souls. A lot of these guys out here, they all thugged out and they all hardcore thugged out and whatnot. And you like that, you might be attracted to that strong, masculine, aggressive part of the man, but there's no mental that goes along with it. There's no mental extension that goes along with it. The physical masculinity and the strength is there, but there's no mental strength there. That's an incomplete soul. And a lot of you end up getting with incomplete soulmates. You get with incomplete ones. Because you'll be like, oh, yeah, he's strong, he got a nice body, he look good, the sex is good, this, that, and the third, but you're not being stimulated mentally. You're not getting stimulated mentally. Or you might have the guy who's the beta guy, and he's a nice soul, he's a good person, he's nice and whatnot, but he's not stimulating you physically. Right? So there's a lot of different trade-offs with that. Then you got part of it, I call it 2B, the guys who, or, hey, I guess I'm gonna make another lane for these guys. Your Zeta males, right? The Zeta males, I guess after the A, B, and the C, you got those ones who ain't got no souls. Period. They just straight up spiritual. They just so much into everything that's going on here. They don't lost their soul. They can't see beyond nothing that's going on here. These are the people that are usually linked up with you, or you end up getting with. So you going to encounter a lot of people with different energies over time. You're going to encounter a lot of people with limited energy, with no soul, just straight spirit, right? You're going to encounter these people. You're going to link up with these people. You're going to be in relationships with these people. You're going to have children with these people. And then you're going to be asking yourself at the end of all this, what the hell did I do? You're going to be asking yourself, what the hell did I do? You understand? You're going to be asking yourself that. After 20 years, you're going to ask yourself, where did my life go? What did I do? But see, when you got somebody who is your soulmate, they make that time, they make that time, what's the word I want to say? They make it a beautiful journey. When you have a soulmate, somebody who ignites you mentally and physically, right? Soulfully, when that's all in alignment. They make that journey a beautiful journey. So whenever y'all get together, whenever that happens, you happy for it. You embrace it. You love it. Because of who that person is and how they extend you. How you feel free with that person. A freedom that you couldn't find with that spirit mate, right? Or with that settlemate. You can't find that extended freedom, mind, body, and soul, with that settlemate or that spirit mate. And then sometimes when you with the settlemate or when you with the spirit mate, you be in a relationship, you might end up going out and cheating on that person when you find that soulmate, that person, that man, or that woman, for you brothers, that woman that excites you mentally. When that you got that woman that excites you mentally. Or that man that excites you mentally. You just can't help it. You're drawn to that person. You get drawn to that person. You like, I can't help myself. I don't know. What am I doing? My mind, my body saying, my mouth saying no, but he called me, I'm going over there. And you like, after a while, you don't give a damn if you mess up what you got in your with your settlemate. You don't care. You willing to risk it. You willing to risk what you got with your settlemate or your spirit mate. You willing to risk it. Because that person just has you connected so much. That person just has you connected so much. Mentally, that person has you mind, body, and soul. You are linked together. You're like family. You came here together. You were separated at birth. And now you found each other. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? A lot of people in their relationships. A lot of people continue on. Right? So it's never that simple. If you're lucky in your lifetime to find that soulmate and link up with that person, and that person allows you to be you and does not get in the way of who you are, embraces your freedom, right? And you embrace that person's freedom of choice and expression and extended memory and thoughts, and there's always supposed to be a bigger picture, then that's your soulmate. That's your soulmate. It doesn't feel like you're tripping over each other. It doesn't feel like, this person not going to understand where I'm coming from with this, that, and the third. It don't feel like that. It's not a hard sell. It's not a slow dance. It's a rhythmic and buoyant motion of movement. And in this buoyant motion of movement, from the time you have a sexual encounter with that person, physical conversation with that person, it's a whole different other energy. It's a whole different other energy than what you had with the settled person, than what you had with the spiritual person. Spirits come and go, right? And you might settle on that one as you're getting older, but soul is forever. Soul is forever. Soul is forever. It is that light that will always constantly go forward, constantly be extended, constantly. And the true soulmates, the women who have a man, and you might have a man who have two women who are his soulmates. He might have two women who are his soulmates, and they'd be like, "Oh, I understand." They'd be like, and then next thing you know, he's like, "Okay, yeah, you his soulmate, I'm his soulmate too. We both together. We his soulmate together." And they accept it. They accept. That's real. That happens. That happens. Where it's just so cool. She'd be like, "You know what? I like her. That's like my sister." So y'all become like soulmates as far as sisters, like sister soulmates. You become almost like sister soulmates, where you be like, "Well, damn, I like her." You know what I'm saying? I don't mind if me and her got him. We share him. I don't mind. Now that might sound crazy to a lot of women, but you got women out there because you wonder why. In Islam, I'm just giving this as an example. In Islam, it seems to work with a lot of women who will have who will share a husband, and might have a man who might have three wives, and they work together because there's some sort of connection there. With the Arabs, it's a spiritual connection. That's their form of soul connection. It's their spiritual connection, their belief system, which is Islam, right? So there's a spiritual connection there. When our people got into that Islam, all these things with polygamy, there was a soul connection there because there might be harmony in that house or in that with that group of women. There's no jealousy there. You'd be like, "Damn, I can never see myself doing that." Women be like, "I can't see myself doing that." But see, once you see and you feel that soul vibration coming from your man, and you see him interact with that woman, and then you like, next thing you know, you cool with her, and there's a soul connection, you like, "Okay, I get it. I can't hate her. I get it. I'm not jealous." You start to feel that way. But see, when there's a clash there, one of the souls is not in alignment. One of the souls are off. One of the souls are off when you see that clash and that that blockage there. There's not a flow of harmony there. There's not a flow of connection there. You jealous, you angry, you like, I don't like that. You can't, but you might say, and then you go like, he'll relent. The man might relent because he's like, he don't want to upset you. But that's when it becomes, what's the way I want to say? That's when it becomes a settled connection. That's when it becomes a subtle connection. I'm gonna give the example of this movie I saw, Fences, right? Fences, with Denzel Washington, which to me, I didn't. I'm gonna speak a little bit on. Fences just for a second, an example of what I'm talking about, and Hidden Figures. In Fences, Denzel Washington's character, he had that soul connection with his wife. He had that soul connection with his wife in that movie. They were soulfully connected, right? They were soulfully connected. So much so that when he went and he started dealing with another woman on the side, right? And he was trying to explain to her in that 1950s type of, explanation about how he could be, free and do this, that, and the third, and he feel like he releasing himself. And he was trying to explain it, and I got what he was saying. And I think it was cleverly written because a man, it was spoken about like a man who lived in that time in the 50s, him trying to explain to his woman why he's dealing with another woman, right? And I was like, she couldn't get it, but then after a while, she was mad, but then she understood. She understood that. And I said immediately, that was a soul connection. That was the soul connection. And she stayed with him. And he brought home a child from the other woman who passed on, and she raised that daughter after he passed on. She took the girl and raised the girl as her daughter because her mother died in childbirth, and then eventually, he passed on, but the girl was a little girl. He brought her home as a newborn baby, and she raised that girl like it was her daughter. That's soulmate. She said, I didn't have more children with him and whatnot. Maybe it wasn't meant. Maybe the Lord meant for me. Maybe meant for her to come, and I was supposed to raise her, and her mother passed on. She looked at it from a bigger picture. She was like, oh, I can't believe that he's going to bring another a bastard child, because you know how the black woman is today, right? And that used to happen all the time back then. Men that bring home their children with other women. Now people say, I ain't seeing that, but they did that. And the women understood. Did they like it? No, because a lot of times they didn't understand it because they wasn't raised that way. But the women who understood it, they had a strange acceptance of it. Because how could you convince women to be like, okay, the polygamy thing and whatever the case may be? And I'm not talking about you guys who are doing polygamy. I'm not talking about that pimp polygamy nonsense. Because all you guys who doing the pimp polygamy nonsense, all you doing is gathering a bunch of spiritual mates. You ain't gathering no soul mates. You guys, you polygamy niggas, you conscious niggas who doing it. You gathering a bunch of spiritual mates. You just doing it because you want to be a pimp. You want to be you want somebody just because she got a big old butt. You want somebody from some sexual, physical thing. You guys who doing a lot of the gathering, that's not a soul connection you doing. You only want some freaky sex or two women together. That's all you really into. That's what you're looking for. No, that type of encounter and that connection is supposed to be a soul connection. And it's supposed to be an unspoken comprehension, an unspoken understanding about it. What that means. What that really means. That was hellified when I said, damn, she raised his child with another woman after he passed on and took care of her like she was her own. It wasn't I can't keep, I look at her and I see with her and my husband, and she ain't even thinking about that. That's not even in her mind. She said, that ain't the child, ain't got nothing to do with the child. And that was a pretty little girl that came from that union. She had her son with her husband. She spent her life with him. He took care of her. He was a man about it. He came to her like a man and told her. You understand? Because he felt he could do that because they had that soul connection. It wasn't no subtle connection. You could tell it was a genuine love there between them. It was a genuine love. She even said it to her son after her husband passed. She said, when I seen him, I said, man, I want a baby. I want to be with that man, this, that, and the third. And so obviously he stimulated her mentally, physically, and soulfully. And that was the strength that kept them together. That was the strength that kept them together. That was when they was in order. That's powerful, and that's the power of a soul connection. There's order there. Even in the midst of chaos within these spiritual connections, Within these subtle connections, in the midst of chaos, there is encounters that are real soul connections. They are real soul connections where there's harmony. Because you only get this harmony and this unity when there's something that's out of alignment. That's the only time you get it. That's the only time you get it. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. You looking at what? That's when something's out of order. That's when something's out of order. You can know when the man you're talking to, you have a soul connection with that man. You know when you have a soul connection with that man. When you can be talking to that man for hours and hours and hours and it don't feel like, it don't feel boring. It don't feel like it's dragged on. Or you can be in that man's company and you really enjoy each other. Right? He'll take your hand and kiss your hand and look you in the eyes and whatnot. Right? Or put that favorite song in it. It's a real genuine affection versus a man who just doing it because, this is what I'm supposed to do. You could tell a man who has a genuine affection for you, and I'm talking about a soul affection, not no trivial spirit affection. There's a difference. There's a difference. You could tell when it's a shallow spirit encounter and an affection for you. It's like you look good. Yeah, I look good. You smoke. I drink. You want to get together? Yeah, let's get together. What movie you watching? You want to watch a movie? All right, let's go to bed. That's the spiritual connection. You look good, sure. That's the spiritual connection. The soul connection, like I said, it's flawless. Right? I'm not saying it don't have a little bit of drama in it. I'm not saying that. It's going to be some argument, some fight. That's going to happen. That's natural. We're in a world of polarities, good and bad. Right? There's going to be fights. There's going to be arguments. We're in a world of polarity. That's good and bad. But ultimately, the bigger picture and how you both fulfill something in each other, extend something in each other, is more important than the good and bad. That's like anything. You driving on a road long enough, you're going to hit a few bumps. That's anything. I don't care if the most perfect connection, the most perfect soul connection is going to hit bumps. It's going to be positives and negatives with it. It's going to be positives and negatives. But that does not define the whole encounter. That doesn't define the whole encounter. What defines the encounter is the constant realization of the bigger picture that is always right in front of your face. The constant bigger picture. For me, as I explained to somebody one time, the constant bigger picture is intellect. That's it with me. That's the constant bigger picture. That will sustain me throughout my life in any connection any soul connection that is formed with me. Intellect is always the foundation with me. If a person don't have a foundation beyond just that person, something that's going to extend them, something that they don't have in common, then there's nothing there. And it can't just be children. Can't be that. Can't be just children. See, because you only in possession of those children for 18 years. You only in possession of those they're only your children for 18 years. After they become adults, they ain't your children no more. Those are separate individuals. You could say I'm still your parent, I'm still your parents. So like you can have that sentimental attraction, but reality, they're not your kids no more. They're not your children anymore. These are grown up adults. They came into your life and you were charged with raising, and thus you became their parents. Notice the word rent there. Parental, rental. You became their renter guardians. They're physical rental guardians. You were charged with taking care of them for 18 years, 19, however long you take care of them, and then they go on their way, and they're their own adults. They got their own minds, their own direction, and you ain't got nothing to do with that. You have nothing to do with that. That union might have been for the purpose of producing those people from that union during that time of of the spiritual mate, or through the settlemate, picture has to be bigger. It always has to be extensive because, like I said, after those children grow up and leave and they go on their way, what do you have now? That's why, if you notice, with a lot, when the children are raised and out the house, it's not going to be. It's never too long before the woman or the man is looking to get a divorce. They're looking for a divorce. You've been with that person for 20-something years, and they want to move. They want a divorce. They like, oh, the kid's grown now. You know, I don't put my time in, because now it starts to feel like you putting in time, like you serving a sentence, like you in jail. Because you looking at this person like, I'm with a stupid person. I'm not really feeling that person, but I'm in it. We got kids. Let me get started and raise these children, and that's it. But as soon as they get grown, you ready to be out. You rather be by yourself, and that's real. We'll be right back. I'm back. This Sunday at Restoration Plaza, I'm going to be speaking. That's 1368 Fulton Street here in Brooklyn, New York, at the Republic of Mentellect Supermen, Superwoman Project. I'm going to be 3 to 7, and you know, like I said, it's free. Come on in and sit and listen and stay a while and hear me talk about Mentellect and the extending of the, you know, cutting the weaker self out and bringing out the power, the real power in you. I'm going to be speaking on all that. It ain't like, you know, the class is not like the radio. It's more intense. So, hope to see you there, those of you in the tri-state area, those who want to travel. We've been having a lot of people coming, a lot of out-of-town guests coming to the little conferences we do. And your participation is appreciated. So this Sunday, Restoration Plaza, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Those of you who want to attend, you can call 347-350-6770 if you want to attend, and you can get directions and whatnot. So, soulmates. You know that a soulmate is the greatest thing that you can have in your life. It's the greatest thing you can have. Right? Soulmates are the greatest people you can have in your life on all levels, mind, body, and soul. Right? And if you are not in alignment with a person, mind, body, and soul, and a part is missing, then you'll never be satisfied. You will never be satisfied. Right? You will never be satisfied as long as a part is missing. When that soulmate leaves your life, you'll always remember that soulmate, that person that was in your life. You will always remember that person. Now, you might go through guys and whatnot, or men going through women, and you'll be like, yeah, I dealt with that person for a minute. Yeah, I dealt with that person. And it might be certain things that stood out in your mind to a person, like, oh, yeah, the sex was good, or, oh, yeah, you know, you know, we had some nice long talks and this, that, and the third. But it's not really nothing. These are things you could do without. It's not, you know, these are things you can walk on away from. You know, these are things you can walk away from. These are encounters. You will remember them because, you know, you were involved in it. But these are things you can walk away from. The soulmate is not that easy. That person, once you have that soulmate in your life, that person that inspires you, mind, body, and soul in your life, nobody else after that measures up. I'm going to be real with you. Nobody else measures up. After you had that person who touched you mentally, nobody else measures up. Everything after that becomes a life of settling. Everything after that becomes a life of spiritual encounters with people who leave impressions on you. Spiritual encounters and spiritual connections, sexual things like that, that leaves an impression on you. And it's usually not good ones. It's not good ones. Because when you get with people based on shallow and trivial circumstances, you know, situations, it's not going to do anything to deepen you. It's not going to do anything to extend you. It's not going to do anything. It's going to keep you in a shallow state. These people will keep you in a shallow state because this is all they know. You'll be craving conversation interaction, encounter with somebody where you can speak about the meaning of life, what you should be becoming in your life. You're trying to find yourself, and all you can get out of this person is, want to watch a movie, want to smoke some weed, want to drink some liquor, want to have sex. This is all you can get out of that person. Want to go see a movie, want to watch World Star. This is all you can get out of a person. And this is all you can get. When you're looking for deep conversation, when you're looking for a deep connection, a deep soulful connection, you're not going to get it with these people. You're not going to get it with the average person. That's why a soul connection is a special connection. You're not going to get it. I promise you that. And you know that. Those of you who are listening, you sisters and you brothers who are listening, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that with the female who, who you linked up with. You brothers, you might link up with that girl who looked good, right? And, the thrill is gone once you done got her, once you done jumped in bed with her. After a while, the feeling starts to wane. The feeling starts to wane. Why is that? After that, because you got with her based on a spiritual connection. You got with her based on that. And there was nothing else beyond that. There was nothing else beyond that spiritual connection, that trivial connection. There was nothing there beyond that. And you might have gave up a woman who you had a soul connection with. You might have gave her up for spiritual encounters, trivial and meaningless encounters, or you might have gave up that person you had a soul connection with, you sisters, and you wanted to have multiple spiritual and sexual encounters, because that's the thing a lot of you women push now, and a lot of in this world from the beast, they push this whole thing of get out here and be with this one and that one and get some experience under your belt, and this YOLO, that's the new thing with the damn black woman. YOLO, you only live once. That's a spiritual person who says that. There's no soul there. Because a soulful person knows you live many times, and you're going to continue to live. And you're going to continue to seek that soul mate. You're going to continue to link up with that person. And it's not even going to be something that you got to look for. If you are in alignment, mind, body, and soul, then you're going to walk into that person. You're going to walk right into that person. You're going to link up with that person. You're going to become like it's going to be a magnetic attraction. Even if you stop talking to that person for a while, you're always going to find your way back to that person, because that's your soul mate. That was meant to be your soul mate, because that person made an impression in your mind. That person made an impression in your mind. Made a deep impression in your mind, and you want that impression to be constantly made. You want that impression to be constantly made. You want that impression to be driven deeper and deeper into your mind. And when you got people who can't do that, when you got people who cannot register that in your mind, when you get with these people who have spiritual connection with you and no soul connection with you, who have settled connections with you and no soul, it weighs on you. It weighs on you. When Erykah Badu made that song "See You Next Lifetime," like, she was in a situation with some guy, and she liked the other guy, and she felt some kind of connection with the guy. Now, I don't know how deep a connection she felt, but you had women who like that. They'd be like, "Damn, I'm in this relationship with this brother." You know what I'm saying? And I can't, because he becoming but mentally I'm feeling this person, physically and soulfully I'm feeling this person, but I can't leave I might have children with that brother. I'm with this brother, I'm with this sister, and I got children with her. I just can't leave her like that. Whatever. That happens. A lot of women settle because you're afraid of getting older and not having children and things like this, so you get settlements. You don't get soulmates, you get settlements. You get with people who are not going to extend you at all. You get with people who have no mental, who do not stimulate you in any form, fashion, mentally. They do not stimulate you. You get with guys who stimulates you to a certain level, maybe just physically. He look good. Sex is good. He look good. Sex is good. He look good. You overlook everything else, but he look good. The sex is good. He look good. Other women want him, and you looking at him like, oh, if I let him go, he gonna get with another woman. But then all this time you betraying yourself, and you trying to stay focused on how good he look. You trying to stay focused on how good the sex is. You trying to stay focused on that as a way to keep him around. But after a while, it gets old, and you're like, I don't give a goddamn who get with him. I don't want him no more. I can't take this no more. I can't keep talking to him. There's nothing there. There's nothing that's stimulating with him. I can't betray myself like this no more. I know there's something more. I want a man who stimulates me. I don't care what his circumstance is. I don't care how often I got to see him. I just live and want to talk to this man. I want to connect with this man on some level. You got women who used to do this. They would go, and they would meet these guys. I'm just using this for an example with the white women. And when they got into this transcendental meditation and this spiritual encounters they was having with these East Indians, who are also spiritual people, these white women who would be in the corporate world and things like that, they would go and leave the corporate world, right? And they would go and get with these East Indian shaman or whatever they was, and they would end up getting with these guys, having babies with them, marrying, but just dealing with them because these people made a deep spiritual impression on them. Like I said, the spiritual is their version of soul. The spiritual connection with the Caucasians, the East Indians, the Asians, and some of your blacks who have no soul anymore, that's their encounter. That's their highest encounter. The spiritual is their highest encounter. With us, it's the lowest encounter. With those who have a soul, it's the lowest encounter. But with them, it's the highest encounter. It's the highest encounter when those people of the spirit. But with those of us who have soul, it's the soul is the higher encounter. And we know the difference. We know that fire. We know that burning. We know that excitement, that energy, that power, that bursting within the mind, that wondering, that excitement, that mental explosion, that sexual explosion, all linked into one. Those ideas in your head that you get from speaking to that person, that's the soul connection. With the spiritual connection, yeah, he cool, I like this, that, and the third, and blah, blah, blah. They say things that appeal to those people in that spiritual realm. And you have women would leave their life and their jobs on and then go and live amongst these people. That's a spiritual connection. She found a spiritual brother, spiritual lover, spiritual mentor. So when you get with a man, he should be a soulful brother, a soulful mentor, all of these things. Somebody who's going to extend you. Somebody that's going to extend you. Because 20 years, 30 years can drag out hella long. That can drag out a very long time when you with somebody who is not really a soulmate. That can drag out. There's nothing worse than dragging yourself for 20 years with somebody who does not get where you coming from, who don't really hear what you're talking about, who you don't even want to really hear what they talking about. Right? It's nothing like that. That can make you old real fast. It can weigh on you. It'll age you really fast. When you got people, and like a lot of times women catch it just in time, because when you women are with these people, these settlements, right? When you with these settlements and there's no mental connection there, there's no soul, there's no solar chemistry there, there's no soul, no type of, this person being, like I said, you like, damn, this is just going on. I don't want to be in this, but I'm in it. How do I walk away from it? I don't want to be with this person. I can't, and that time drags on. And it drags on and on and on. And next thing you know, you're looking older than what you are. You don't care about your health no more. Your diet, nothing. You just eating anything. You look older than what you are. You don't age yourself within the 5 years of being with this settlemate. You don't age yourself 15 to 20 years. You don't age yourself. Why? Because that person has been draining your energy. That person is draining your energy. You have submitted to this person, and this person is draining your energy with stupid conversations, simple-minded situations, inferior sperm that's going inside of you. So everything, just being in the environment, living with this person, sleeping next to this person, this is making you, or aging you, or making you older. It's lessening you because this person is draining you. This person is draining you. Because in any connection, either a person is gaining or losing. In any connection, either you're gaining or losing. With a soulmate, you will always gain. But with a settlemate, you will always lose. With a spiritual mate, you will lose over time. You will, like I say, win, lose, or draw. With the spiritual mate, you'll draw. And then you'll lose. But the settlemate, you'll lose over time. And it's a long fall when you are with that settlemate. That is a very long fall. You might have to find yourself being with that person. You might find yourself getting high just so you don't have to deal with the reality of being with the wrong person, somebody you didn't want to get with. You might start getting high. You might start smoking and drinking and doing all this stuff because you got to face the reality. I got to go home and be around this person. Alcohol or weed or whatever make this more, make this time I got to do with this person more doable. It'll make it more, it'll make it more I can't think of the word right now. Right? But this, this beyond all of this, beyond what you think you are and the limitations of what you think you are, because like I said, the settlemate will always constantly remind you of your limitation. The settlemate will constantly remind you of your limitation. Your settlemate is not going to sit here and listen with you about this. Your settlemate is not going to sit and listen to this message or anything I'm sharing. I'm going to let you know now. Your settlemate won't listen to it. It won't be able to penetrate them mentally. Right? Your settlemate won't be able to listen to this. They'll listen to about maybe 10 minutes of, I got to go. What this guy talking about? Because that's a person who lacks soul, a person who lacks comprehension, a person who lacks extended memory. And this is not the person you really signed up to be with, because as you have learning that there's so much more and that you wasted time with this person, this is something that, over time will set you ablaze, will anger you, and want you to revert away from and go away from. Because you're looking for that explosion in yourself. You're looking for that single thing to happen where it sets about a spark in you, a change in you. You're looking for that to happen. And this person can't bring it out. This person cannot bring it out in you. They're keeping you at a certain level. You decide to settle for a settlemate. So in settling for a settlemate, you just cut your soul mate away. You have casted away your soul mate because you decided to settle settle on a settlemate. You understand that? It might be a time where you might not be able to find that soulmate. You might be tired. You might have put in 20, 30 years with this person. You might have put in all been in the settled connections. You might have put in that time, and you might have been like, damn. Because you'll never find yourself saying, you know what? You'll never be able to tell yourself, look, I don't want, I just don't want to be with you no more like that. I feel like I feel like you're a settlemate. I don't feel where there's no mental extension coming on. You're not telling me anything of what I don't see any possibility in being with you. What greater things could come to me. I don't see that with you. You understand? I know there's more for me. Now, for those of you who don't think there's more for you, that means there's no extended memory to you. Some of you deserve to be with settlements. Some of you deserve that. Some of you deserve to be with settlements. Right? I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's not a great thing. Because me, I always want soulmate. Because the soulmate is that rocket fuel, that energy, that power that we desire. It lets us know that we are really alive. After a while, with the settlement, you just basically a walking dead zombie. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to come home. I'm going to shower. I'm going to have sex. I'm going to cook food. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take care of the kids. I'm going to do this all over again and again and again. And to some people, they're satisfied with that. Some people are satisfied with just that. And you got certain people who would rather be alone than to go through that routine. They'd rather be by themselves. They'd rather be free to go and, perfect themselves, be it working out or whatever. They'd rather be by themselves, perfecting themselves every day, rather than to be in those, limited encounters. Those are the people who are seeking soulmates. They're looking for inspiration, encounter. No matter how it comes, no matter what the circumstance, they're looking for soulmates. Because it's easy to fall into a settlemate situation. It's easy to fall into that. Very easy. It's easy to fall into a spiritual mate encounter. That happens all the time. But it's never going to be enough spark you and sustain you. It's never going to be enough. Just like certain people say this world is not enough, those encounters are not enough. You've had your fill of them. You had your share. Now you just want to have that connection with someone you can speak to all night long, lay with all night long, talk to it. When you see that person, like I said, you ain't got to have them all to yourself. I got to see you all the time. Even if it's so powerful. If you see that person 2 or 3 months out of the year or 4 months out of the year, however, when you see that person, it's powerful. It's powerful. When it's just the time you spend with that person, it's powerful. It's more powerful than being with that person, that settlement you've been with for 20 goddamn years. You understand? It's more powerful than that. There's no specialness in that. You get comfortable around to the point whereas, y'all just, you're just doing regular things around each other. Because now that person, that settlemate has become regular. That settlemate has become regular. It's nothing special. That settlemate and that spiritual mate, they become regular. And you become uninspired. You just, you get to a point in your life when you're trying to figure out, why am I so uninspired? I want to do more. I want to do more. I want to do more. But I just can't seem to I can't understand, why am I not being creative? Why am I not, doing more? Why am I, what's holding me back? Then you look next to this big old settlemate laying next to you, and it might pop on in your head. The light bulb might pop on in your head, be it male or female. The light bulb will pop on in your head. We'll be right back. It's very easy to find your soulmate or somebody, and you know who your soulmate is. The person who extends you mentally. The person who extends you. Don't look for nobody to complete you. You always want to be incomplete. What do I mean by that? I mean that once you say you're looking for someone to complete you, then that means that's the end of you. You always want to be incomplete because you're always finding greater pictures, greater parts of yourself. You're supposed to always be finding extended versions of yourself. That's what mentellect is all about. It is meant for our people to find extended versions of themselves. Like, for example, when I said we are the bright race, black people would have never thought about that. The bright race? What are you talking about, the bright race? We gave something extended and logical to people who are open to receive it. When you have a soulmate and the soulmate introduces something to you in which you can extend yourself on and go further and go above and beyond, right? Something bigger than you, something that you can attach yourself to and grow with, then that's the power of a soulmate, because you're finding constant pieces, extended versions of yourself. So you don't ever want a soulmate to complete you. I'm looking for somebody to complete me. What are you talking about? That is ridiculous. You don't ever want to be complete. You always want to be incomplete. You always want to be constantly seeking the extended self. And you want somebody who's going to constantly open up those doors for you to go through to find those in yourself. And that only is done by the power of a soulmate. A soulmate will help you to discover greater and extended versions of yourself. But for the people who are not interested in finding that in themselves, they get settlements. And they're happy with the simple things. They're happy with the simple things in life. Because they're too scared to venture out and connect with the soulmate, because it might not be the situation they want. It might not be how they want it. He can't just be mine. Why? We can't live together. We can't be. No. That soulmate is almost like damn near like a damn mystic guru. That soulmate is like a mystic guru, a high shaman, a high priest. That's what your soulmate is supposed to kind of be like. I'm going to be real with you. Your soulmate is supposed to be like a mystic damn shaman priest on another level. I'm not talking about these mystic spiritual Negroes and these spiritual pit. I'm talking about a soul shaman. Somebody who's like a priest, a higher knowledge, a higher extended self. That's your soulmate. That's really your soulmate. Somebody who embodies that. That's the one who's going to constantly reveal extended versions of you through your soul, through your mind, and through your body. That's your soulmate. That's the connection, ultimately, that you women who have no man in your life crave. Because you can have a regular man in your life. That's easy. You have a regular man in your life. But I'm pretty sure you don't had your fill. See, this conclusion only usually comes to women who have had regular men in their lives. They've had that. They've had regular relationships already. They've had regular encounters. They've had spiritual connections, where you got these guys that you like temporarily and then it ain't last. You had settled connections where you done been married already. You done been there, done that. Been married, had children, been in settled connections, been in spiritual connections. Now you're looking for the final thing that's going to take you into another realm, into another state of being, and that is that soul connection. Why you think people, I'm just going to use this, why you think you have certain men who are in a high positions and high realm, they have multiple women, they'll have that because women see the power, be it spiritual or soulful, coming from those men. The intelligence that comes out of those men. They are attracted to that. They're attracted to that. Even a so-called entertainer, singer, a comedian, one who has real intelligence, right? Because it takes intelligence to be able to, or, it takes intelligence to be able to dialogue like that, to sing like that. If you really are talented, there's usually, guys who play the instrument, there's usually some kind of higher or advanced mental thing with those people, usually. Not all the time, but usually there is. Right? You might just be inspired by the music and that's it. But they can't extend anything in you. They can't extend anything in you. You might be inspired by their words. but their words are not real because it don't really inspire nothing. And you got to ask yourself, what does these people's words inspire in you? That's how you know whether you have a soulmate or not. What do these people's words inspire in you? If they don't inspire anything in you, then you don't have a soulmate. Just calling somebody a soulmate because you like being around them and hanging out with them, and you could do that with a goddamn friend. You could do that with a friend. I like hanging out with you. I like going to the movies with you. I like, whatever. That don't make that your soulmate. Soulmate is the person who extends you mentally, right? Y'all think the same. You think that person makes you think on another level. That person makes you see the bigger picture, the future picture. That person is driven. That person's about something, that's doing something, that's changing things. And if those are the type of people you are ultimately attracted to, that's your soulmate. That means you're supposed to be doing something on an extended level. That means you're supposed to be doing something on a greater level, on an extended level. But like I said, a lot of times you don't reach that because you don't have the proper people in place within these limited connections of settle and spirit connection. You don't have the proper people in the place to bring that out of you. It does not do that. It does not open these things up in you. It does not extend you. These people don't extend you. These people make you embark on things that's going to change your life, right? Change who you thought you were. Extend you. These are the people that are going to embark on changing your life. Make you something greater than what you were in those previous and limited encounters. This is ultimately why you find a soulmate, right? Like I said, you don't find a soulmate to complete you. You find a soulmate to extend you. To extend you. Inspire you. That's what you're looking for a soulmate for. To extend you and to inspire you, and extend you to greater heights of who you came here to be, to let you find your purpose or to assist you in finding your purpose in life. That's what a soulmate does. You ain't going to find that with the spiritual, and you ain't going to get that with the settle. You're not going to get that. You might get those so-called relationships that you think you want, where he coming home every night and he around you and he in your face and y'all going on dates and it's movie night and it's food night and it's we're gonna sit around the TV and watch and we're gonna watch it. That's what you want, then you go get a settlemate. We're gonna go to the company picnic together. We're gonna go to the Napa Valley together. No, go get a settlemate. That's what a settlemate is for. That's not a soulmate. Or, we just going to date and we're going to go to the movies and we're going to date and this, that, and the third and this, that, that. That's a spirit. That's a spiritual connection. That's a spirit mate. You will get nothing from either one. You will get nothing from either one. Absolutely nothing. And people are willing in this life to settle for absolutely nothing. I'd rather be alone than settle for absolutely nothing. You should want to be alone rather than settle for absolutely nothing. And that nothing is what I just mentioned to you. The something is the extended version of you that is brought out of you only by a soulmate. A lot of people got it twisted on and they got it wrong on what they think a soulmate is. They want to they get this idea in their head. And like I said, the people who found their true soulmates are the people who are actually achieving things in the world. They're actually getting out in the world because they have this extra spark with them, this extra energy, this extra power, this current that's going through them that's going to get them on a level of achieving things that's going to extend you mentally. I'm not just talking about physical things. I'm not talking about acquiring just physical things. I'm not talking about that. You understand? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about acquiring greater visions and versions of yourself. Things that you never thought that were in you that are possible to unearth and bring out of you. Bringing greater versions, extended versions of yourself futuristically is going to bring higher communication And that's what a soulmate brings to you. That is what a soulmate brings to you. Certain people didn't realize that. And certain people got caught up with settlements. And when you're in that settlemate situation, it's like you're putting yourself in prison. Over time, it becomes prison. Because you know deep down inside that person's not saying anything to extend you. That person's not doing anything to extend you. It's just a regular life. You want a life that's a lot less than ordinary. Or should I say a lot more than ordinary? I should say, extraordinary. Hell, they do away with the word ordinary altogether. That's what you should want. Right? These are very real expressions of a real encounter or real encounters that exist. I said before, soul is dealing with fire and spirit is dealing with water. So your spiritual connections are nothing but watered down versions of the soul. They're watered down. They're watered down versions of the soul connection. You should not want anything that's watered down. Nothing that's cut. Nothing that's contrived. You should want it to be as wild, as raw, as powerful. See, when you start to try and shape the soul connection around what it is you think you want, because see, what happens is you look for a soulmate to be in the image of the spiritual mate that you had or the settlemate that you had. You look for the soulmate to be like that. You look for the soulmate to be like that. And that's not how the soulmate really is. You want the soulmate to fit within the box of a settlemate or a spiritual mate. I'm going to see him every day. I'm going to be with him every day. I'm going to be with her every day. I'm going to see her every day. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. You had that already. And the fact that you were not able to stay in that thing is that's a sign that you outgrew it. That's not really what you came here for. Now you're discovering what you came here for. And that is a soulmate, a soul connection. That is a soul connection, and it's going to be raw. It's going to be real. It's going to be uncut. It's going to be strong. And it's going to be extending. The most important thing is it's going to extend you in and on all levels. It's going to extend you. I promise you that. It will extend you. It will expand you. I'm going to go ahead and read some of these questions before we get out of here. We got like 9 minutes left. What is the real meaning of soulmates? The real meaning of soulmate is one who sparks you, mind, body, and soul. And that spark that you feel when you talk to that soulmate, like I said, you could be on the phone with that person all night. You can be in that person's presence, that person making you laugh and smile and whatnot, and you having deep conversations. That extension is, or that power, that spark is actually you extending yourself, you becoming extended. You are becoming extended when you talk to this person. When you have a mental exchange with that person, you are becoming extended. When you have a physical exchange with that person, you become extended. When you have and that is a soulful exchange that extends you. All three in alignment. What is a settlemate? Somebody that you end up with through circumstance, through limited encounters, through fear, because you want to be with somebody. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to be without children. You want a family, so you'll settle for a person, right? And the routine that comes with that settlement. What are spirit mates? Spirit mates are temporary mates that you get through sexual encounters, right? Trivial encounters, guys you meet up with, girls you meet up with, you date, you get with, you kick it with, you might. Those spiritual encounters might last maybe anywhere from 5-6 months to 2 years, depending on how long you extend it out. But sometimes you end up having babies with these people, and these become your baby daddies. These spiritual encounters. These end up becoming your baby daddies. Does everyone have a soulmate? Those who have souls have soulmates. Yes, if you have a soul. If you got a spirit, you got a spirit mate out there somewhere. Right? Someone who's caught up in the foolishness. How do you know who your soulmate really is and is? Based on whether they excite you mentally, whether they excite you physically, and whether they excite you soulfully. Whether they see when you hear these people speak, and you can actually feel their words extending you and growing you mentally, and you're seeing a bigger picture, a greater picture in what these people are saying to you, where it's changing you for the better, it's transforming you. Those are the words of a soulmate. That is the energy that a soulmate gives off. The soul does what? If it's dealing with fire, it's dealing with burning, right? Explosion, expansion, extension. All right. Why is this important to know into the future? It's important to know because so many of us make mistakes in dealing with settlements and spiritual mates, and we mistake them for soulmates. We think that it's a trade-off, or we want to make the soul connection or the soulmate connection what we want it to be, and it's not meant to be what we want it to be, because we really don't know what we want when we're in that state of, or coming out of that state of being with settlements or spiritual mates. We don't really know what we want, so we try to convert soulmates into those limited forms of encounter. So it's very important that we don't betray ourselves, because the greatest things in ourselves that we're going to encounter and the extension of ourselves are going to come from these soul connections with these soul mates. And that's it. Again, join us tomorrow night. I'm going to be doing a broadcast on why police brutality really happens to black people. I'm going to be doing that broadcast. It sparked me to do this. I was pondering this, and Armin hit me with it like a lightning bolt. So I'm going to tune in for that tomorrow. That's going to be Fire Saturday. So, and catch us Sunday again at Restoration Plaza, 1368 Fulton Street, Brooklyn, New York. First floor from 3 to 7. I'm going to be speaking. And catch Sister Sandira's broadcast, Shanar Sandira's broadcast on Thursdays. She got a nice lineup coming. She done, made in advance. So catch her broadcast on Thursdays at 10. Again, I am the intellectual Nuben Menkarayzz. This has been Mentellect Radio. What are we going to close with? I want to close with something nice. Let me see. I want to close.
It's the Republic of Mentellect, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the white race. If it's hell, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that